Since arriving at the University of Connecticut in 1985, Gino Auriemma has set the gold standard for excellence at the college level. The records and accolades speak for themselves. More national championships than any other college program. Some of the greatest players in the history of the game. And 6 perfect seasons. Tonight, we hear from the undefeated teams of 2014 and 2016. From the personalities.
In senior year, I was balling, so I was good the whole season.
To the stories.
I know a lot of times people are just like, oh my God, you know Brianna Stewart? I was like, yeah, I played at UConn. I know y'all forget about me, but I played with her.
And the long-lasting impact made by one very special group.
The longer I'm away from it now, the more I appreciate it. And the longer that you guys are gone, the more I appreciate what it was like when you guys were there. God, I love seeing you guys.
This is UConn Undefeated. UConn Undefeated is presented by your Tri-State Cadillac dealers. Experience the ultimate and iconic luxury.
Welcome to UConn Undefeated. Tonight, from the 2014 team, we have Bria Hartley, Stephanie Dolson, and Kalena Mosqueda-Lewis. And from the 2014 and 16 team, we have Brianna Stewart, Morgan Tuck, and Mariah Jefferson. What we want to do is talk about how it felt. Steph, you go first.
Yep.
I don't remember anything.
You came, no, you do remember. And if you don't remember, Bria will help you because Bria was the smart one in that group. Remember when you guys got to UConn, it was like we had some amazing years, obviously. And now you guys showed up as freshmen and you guys were thrown into the starting lineup like boom. And the second game of the year, we played Baylor at the XL Center. And Steph, I knew you were going to be an All-American because you fouled out in 13 minutes against Brittany Brothers. You didn't score.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was your freshman year. You guys, real quick, do you remember anything about that game, you two guys?
I remember being nervous, but I get nervous for every game. I was nervous when I was a senior too, but I just remember being scared of playing BG. But weren't we playing a zone so that I didn't really have to guard her either? But then I still fouled out, and then Stevie yelling at me. So I was
you shouldn't have said that because if you weren't even guarding her, how the hell did you foul out?
The same way I foul out now. Like I'm just there.
I remember I had 1 point the whole game until the last 2 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Until the last 2 minutes, and then I hit that big shot or whatever, or had like 8 points or something like that in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, 8 points in the last 2 minutes. Because I remember the first 38 minutes, I looked at CD and I said, CD, these two are our freshmen. Oh my God, we are going to be in big trouble.
Oh my God.
So that year, just to set it up for you guys, that year ended in the Final Four and we lost to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
That was Maya's senior year. And you two guys, you started every game. We went to the Final Four. It was great. But you came to Connecticut thinking, oh, yeah, go to UConn. We win a national championship.
Yep.
And it didn't quite work out that way.
It definitely didn't. Especially with Maya, too. We were supposed to win Maya's senior year. So
yeah, we
definitely didn't go as planned.
So in 2014, okay, we have when Stewie, Tuck, and Mariah came on board, did you guys kind of go like, yeah, all right, now we have a chance now?
No.
Wait, but we didn't come in 2014. We came in 2012. I'm confused.
No, but we didn't go undefeated. We didn't
Right,
go
it's undefeated
until
season.
2014.
Hell no, we didn't know.
Well, I feel like after we won in 13, when we came back the next year, we knew we're on top of it.
Well, and I always remember you, Coach, saying how it was the seniors. If we had good seniors, we were going to win a national championship. So the minute Bria and I were seniors, I said, I don't care who comes in, we're winning a national championship because we're awesome.
He told me we have to go undefeated for it to really mean something. So when we won in 13, you're like, it didn't really mean anything until you win and go undefeated. So we had to make sure.
We did that.
Hey, it's okay. We still won my senior year. We just lost one game.
Oh yeah, and we heard about it forever because he was like, "You guys would have been 100-0 or 1,000-0, except we lost the one game."
1 second left. Got to get a shot in the air, and they will not. Oh, Connecticut never got one in the air, and Stanford has won it in overtime, 88-86. The 47-game winning streak is over.
You know, if we hadn't lost that game, we would have had 3 straight undefeated seasons.
I told you.
Dang.
I can't even fathom
This is
that.
what we heard all practice. Yes. For those 2 seasons.
From who?
You.
What are you talking about?
You always brought it up in practice. If you didn't lose that one game.
Stanford probably has their own Zoom call about that one game we beat UConn to stop 3 undefeated seasons.
Probably do.
Think back now in 2014. Hey, Morgan, what was preseason like, and what was the season like for you? Knowing that, like, your career was the weirdest one out of all of it because you were good. I'm talking about healthy. You were good. You were great. You were not good. Couldn't play at all. All that stuff. What was that like navigating all that?
I mean, it sucked, especially, I mean, this is the year it was great, but this was the year I was out the most because of my knee. But I mean, it sucked pretty much because it'd be like one day I could play. Then I remember I was walking with Stewie to the gym, like I slipped on ice.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Remember that you on ice, your leg went back, and then you were like,
You know, so that sucked. But I will say, like, being around the team and stuff, that made it better for sure.
Bria, what was the year when I told you that's it? You got to come off the bench. I don't care what you think.
My junior year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole season, she would be the first to tell you that it was a real disappointing season for her. But when March came around, she became the Bria Hartley that we needed. That takes a lot because I asked her to take on a role that was different than what she had played before, and she embraced it because she wants to win.
And then when you came back your senior year, and actually that was a big deal. Let me tell you, that was a big deal because I made a big decision. I said, Bria can't guard anybody. Bria's the worst defensive player on the team.
You honestly had me thinking I couldn't play defense. And then I get
couldn't.
Other places, they're like, you're a good defender. I said, I am.
You couldn't guard anybody.
Bria, what are you doing? This is how you're going to guard them? Were you guarding them when they took off down that way? Why? We want the guy to go that way.
So what we did was we said, okay, every time Bria's in the game, we're playing 5 red on one guy, and we're going to put Bria on that guy. She never has to help. She never has to do anything because she would never do that stuff anyway. So then when we got to be a senior and you guys were playing, who do we play? Who we play in the championship game? That was Notre Dame, right?
That was Notre Dame, yeah.
It's the first time it's ever happened in college basketball. 2 undefeateds meeting to decide the national championship. It's another perfect ending for UConn. The 2014 national champions for an unprecedented 9th time.
This was an expectation to win one, and I'm so happy that Bria and Steph can get sent off on this great of a note.
Stewie and Tuck, you guys spent so much time together, really, playing USA basketball and then Mariah as well. And you get used to, playing together and you get used to winning. did it feel like, yeah, like everywhere we go, whenever we play together, we win? Did it ever dawn on you that maybe we won't win, or did you know that this was going to happen all along? I know, Stewie, you said, I want to win 4 national. Big deal. I want to say I want to win the lottery.
I was going to say I want to win 3.
No, I don't even know why the subject came up. Who brought it up? You?
Not me, media. Media asked these questions.
What they say? They say, hey, how do you think your career is going to go? I want to win 4 national.
What's your goals for your career at UConn? I'm like,
to win.
And how'd you feel halfway through your freshman year when we were getting our seats?
My freshman year, whoa. That was interesting.
Mariah, when you got there and you thought, yeah, we're going to go undefeated and we're going to win, 4 national championships, blah, 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 blah. Did that really ever enter your mind? We're going to win 4 national championships. We're going to go undefeated. We're going to break every record ever set.
Not the undefeated, but definitely the national championships for sure. I know. I remember me, Stewie, and Tuck talking about it and just shooting in the gym doing it. But undefeated, no. I think we hated you too much. We were just worried about the next day and trying.
Whoa! What?
We were just trying to back to this. Seriously.
I mean, come on, yeah.
Come on, seriously? Steph, in those seasons, what was the best game you ever played?
I mean, senior year, I was balling, so I was good the whole season. Pretty sure everyone forgot about Stewie because it was all about Bria and I.
Waller dribbles, double team, gives to Dolson. Off the Stokes, 15-footer is good.
There you go.
And Dolson is happier than a kid on Christmas. There's your triple-double.
I did.
have a triple-double.
I did have a triple-double. See, I forget all these things.
When you were a freshman, you were expected to know X. When you're a sophomore, you're expected to know X plus. When you're a junior, you're expected to know X plus plus. You got to say to yourself, I'm going to be in control of myself all the time.
When we were at practice, did it seem like practices were like really, really as hard as you guys thought they were, or looking back, not really? Think about it.
Dude, they were hard.
I will never do another practice like that again.
I went back to practice this past winter. You tried to make me do all that again. No.
Practice gotta be like an hour for me, hour and a half.
Right?
3 hours.
I have a time restriction.
Right.
Hey, do y'all remember that practice when we couldn't get the bank shots and we were there for like an hour just doing bank shots, and all we had to do was just make 2 in a row?
Wait. Wasn't that you, Mariah, that had to keep doing it? Not all of us. I remember Coach came over and was like, because we're all watching now, you're not making it.
Mine.
No, she made hers.
There was always something popping down in the guard section because Shay was trying to kill all of us.
No, don't even start. Don't even start.
She would send Mariah flying with that pad.
You didn't have CD and Marissa.
First of all, CD wouldn't even let you catch a breath.
CD is the word. Like, we would always look down at the guards, and y'all would be like, 1, 4.
What?
It's like playing one-on-one.
Yes.
Yes.
Against the practice guys. What?
Nah, that was crazy.
What does that mean?
Nah, she'll be like, all right, one-on-one, full court guards, let's go. Like, what? Nah.
No, she didn't, because we were on the other side.
She had to be out there earlier than everyone else.
Right?
Like, guards on the court at this time.
Hey, now that Stewie's like world famous, like when guys run into you and they know that you guys played together, what kind of questions do people ask you about? Like, so what's it like, what's Stewie like? What's the answer? Bria, what's the answer?
I don't know. I'm like, she's cool.
Steph,
I know
what
a
do you
lot of
think?
times people are just like, oh my God, you know Brianna Stewart? I was like, yeah, I played at UConn. I know y'all forget about me, but I played with her.
I've actually gotten mistaken for Stewie before. They think I'm
No,
Stewie
get
just
that
because
out
I'm.
of here.
No, okay, clearly not like this size.
No, because
but
they're
we're
like,
both
oh, tall white girl, brown hair, boom.
Which undefeated national championship celebration was the best?
2013.
Undefeated.
That wasn't even undefeated. But that
I know, but New
celebration
Orleans was the best one.
New Orleans was the best one, but it wasn't undefeated.
Yo, nothing ever. Oh.
CD was out with us.
I know.
She was.
CD was out. Like, that means
Yes. All the coaches were out with us. Like, Riss was.
I'm like,
Shay was.
Kimball.
Kimball was out?
Nah, Coach was in the hotel. Yeah, Kimball was out.
Coach wasn't there.
Do you remember the game at Memphis when we benched the big guys in Kalina? You played center for us.
Yeah.
I remember that game.
You just benched us for no reason.
What?
You benched us for no reason.
I think you did that. It was at Marquette.
Tuck,
That's
we
what I
have
thought.
talked
I was
about
gonna
this.
say-
Yeah, it was at Marquette. Yeah.
Why would I do something for no reason?
Well, it wasn't.
I don't get that.
Because we had a bigger game the next game.
Oh, that's what it was? I wasn't thinking that.
We watched the first 2 minutes we played, and we
I
played.
feel like did we play like one other post? There had to be another post.
No, for us, I think it was Memphis. I don't know if it happened twice, but for us,
it was
It
you.
happened twice because they happened at Marquette too.
It was Stewie, Tuck, and Kia Stokes.
Oh.
We didn't do anything. We rebounded, we set screens, and we scored. And then
He benched you.
This isn't some subliminal message that I'm sending to them. This isn't some TV commercial where I expect them to, read between the lines. This is very flat out. I don't give a damn if you're the national player of the year, if you're the greatest thing that's ever walked, in face of the earth playing basketball. There's a certain level of play that I've been accustomed to at Connecticut, and if you're not there, then you're not playing.
So you were doing all these great things, and I said, you know what? I think I'm going to bench them. I don't think so.
Yes.
Watched it.
I don't even know. Was
watched
this,
the
one of
film.
was this one of the games where he said like you had more rebound or a dead man had?
Oh
more
my
rebounds?
God, CD tells me this all the time. He texts me, you have the same amount of rebounds as a dead person.
Stewie, how weird was it that we played Syracuse of all teams in the last game of your college career?
I mean, I was happy with it because they didn't let us do the home game, do my home game in Syracuse. So I thought it was fitting that we would play them and beat them.
The national championship goes to Connecticut for the 4th year in a row as the dynasty fulfills its destiny.
Wait, why didn't they let you do the home game?
Because they didn't want it to be about me.
And we played Colgate.
Yeah. Which was fine. It was cool.
Colgate.
It was more intimate.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird though.
Yeah.
I'm like, Coach, you probably know more info on that than me. Why we didn't play the home game.
Did they just not want to get beat by a lot?
No,
I mean, that's gonna happen either way, huh?
They just didn't want to play for whatever reason. They just didn't want to play.
I mean, it would have been better for their scouting if they did play us. They would have felt better.
Whenever we played in the Final Four, I never knew, for instance, what you guys talked about once we got to the Final Four. And I never asked, but I know for me personally, anytime we got to the Final Four, I was nervous as hell going into the semifinal game and nervous as hell going into the championship game. And I was praying that you guys were not. Because I'm thinking if they're as nervous as I am, we are dead.
I feel like every year we were more nervous for the semifinal game than we were for the championship game.
Championship game, yeah.
Is that true? You were more nervous for the semifinal game?
I think every time, like, when we played, the semifinal game was, like, either against Notre Dame, and that was, like, the one where we're like, okay, this is, like, we need to win this game. Because after that, I mean, not that, like, I think that got, like, the ball rolling for us. And then after that, we're like, all right, we're good.
Right.
Right. What was the most difficult thing for you to get acclimated to the pressures of playing at UConn and having to be undefeated and win a national championship? What was the hardest part about that? Was it more than you expected when you got there?
No, for sure it was. I think in the beginning it was just the practices. Like I'd never been in a practice like that where you just got somebody in your ear constantly telling you how much you sucked.
I don't know why Shay did that.
It was kind of taking it one day at a time. You got used to it, especially having your teammates around. I just leaned a lot heavily on Bria, when I was younger. And she kind of got me through freshman year. Then after that, like me, Stewie, and Tuck, we just kind of had this bond. So you just thought about that every day. You didn't really think about the pressures until you really got in the game. So, but definitely Bria got me through a lot. So shout out to Bria.
Well, I was struggling junior year myself, so I don't know how I helped you.
Yeah, good though.
I did my best though.
Bria, you had a horrible junior year, man.
It was awful.
You were All-American. It's funny because you were All-American your sophomore year, and then you sprained your ankle, and it was never good your junior year.
No,
never.
It was not. You didn't like me that year.
I hated you that year because all you did was complain about your ankle, and you were miserable.
Well, it hurt.
And then it's funny because Kalina did the exact same thing. She was an All-American her sophomore year, and then she was miserable as a junior, and then played great as a senior. It happens in college, though. Like you go through these ups and downs, and when you're high, you're like at the top of the world, and you feel like everything's. And then when you're down, you feel like, oh my God, it's like the worst thing, the worst experience ever. It's never going to be any good. But to me,
and then when you're down, here comes you yelling at us the entire time, making it worse.
Hey,
you're like, thanks.
And then you get benched.
I'm there lifting you guys up. I was lifting you all up.
Yeah.
All the time.
You shrink the court, Mo. You dribble all the way down to here. Stay wide. Every time you shoot the ball here in practice, every shooting drill you do, that's a game winner. So that when you have the shot that's a game winner, it's just like any other shot you've taken the entire day.
Tell me what it was like in the locker room at halftime of the Dayton game when we were losing. We went in at halftime. We were losing to Dayton. Tell me what that was like.
It was like super calm. When you came in the locker room, you were super, super, super calm.
I know how I was. I want to know how you guys were.
I don't think we were freaking out. We're just like, we're just not making these shots. We need to pull it together. Hey, we was like, they're not going to beat us, so stay calm. Coach is going to come in here and yell at us, but we got it.
You guys keep talking about me yelling at you. I almost never raised my voice with some of you guys.
Check the film.
Here's the worst thing. These last 3 or 4 years, Stewie, since you graduated, I don't even raise my voice. You watch me, right? Right? Everybody watches us play. They go, oh, look at Coach. He doesn't yell. He doesn't scream. He's so calm. He's so easy on these guys. And how many national championships have we won? 0.
You didn't say it didn't work, but looking back.
I said it worked. It worked because I was out there and played 10 times harder when he yelled at me. I'm just going to prove him wrong.
I remember in one practice you pissed me off and I flipped you off after you were like, you're not going to make it. You're not going to get a rebound. I was like,
I think one time Coach yelled at Kalina too, and then all of a sudden she came back and hit like a bunch of threes. He was like, see? When I yell at her, it works.
Stewie, ever since you left, it's been like everybody sees it, everybody's aware of it. When you got to the pros, was it like, yeah, I got this. I mean, the stuff that I learned, the stuff that I went through, all that stuff, like, did it ever come back to you like, I'm all set for it. I'm ready for all this?
I think that, just from all of us, you can tell when someone went to UConn in the WNBA just by how we work and, our mental, and knowing that, nothing's going to be as hard as it was in college and kind of with you and obviously at school. But I think we also learn to kind of put that pressure on ourselves. When you're not there, like, you're not yelling at us. Nobody's yelling at us now, but it's like we have to really hold ourselves accountable. And we want to continue.
Our coach is crazy.
This is being aired somewhere, Steph, so.
Oh, true. Our assistant coach was crazy.
No, I think, when we left UConn, like, we left and we obviously still want to continue to have successful basketball careers. And I think, what I remember, like, Mrs. A, maybe it was Mrs. A, but she's like, you put the most pressure on yourself to make sure that when we leave, we're better than when we came. And, taking that forward, we wanted to continue to be better.
When you go play and you're playing in college and it's all lovey-dovey and we're all on scholarship and it's all great and everybody's having a great time and there's school. When you get to the professional basketball and you're playing and it's a job and you're playing for money and it's a different, what's been for you specifically, Bria, what's been the biggest difference? Because now you're in America playing professionally, you're in Europe playing professionally. What's the biggest revelation that you get that, like, we're not in college anymore?
I mean, I guess when you just like traveling the world, going all these different places, it's cool to see like all these different cultures. Then for me, like, playing for France is really cool. And it's just like you come here every day and it's like you're going to a job. I think sometimes too, like when we were in college and we lost the game, it really felt like the end of the world. But I think now it's like, don't get me wrong, I still hate losing, but at the same time, like, you're like, all right, gotta regroup and just come back and, have a lot more games to play and just gotta come back, regroup, and like you said, it becomes more of a job.
What's your thought on it, Steph?
For me, I think the biggest thing I realized was like how, like what Stewie was just saying, like we have to self-motivate more, because in college it was like why we were there. We were a family. We lived together. We knew we were playing together. Like it wasn't a job. And then now when you're in the league, they have their own lives. They have their own families. Some people have kids. So everyone kind of looks, they have to look out for themselves because they are their business. So it's definitely more like you have to learn how to motivate yourself, how to support yourself. There's so many ups and downs that go into it. So it's a bit more self-motivating than I think college was, where we had the support of the team and the coaches and stuff. Like it was very different.
One thing that's connecting all of you besides UConn and besides championships and being undefeated, you've all had to deal with injuries. I think people would be interested to hear, what does that feel like when you're injured, you can't play for an entire season, it seems like, and you're playing professionally? What goes through your mind? Mo, what does that feel like?
Honestly, it's a little bit scary because in the league that we play in now, there's only 144 spots. So your spot can be taken pretty much at any given time. And definitely for me, I've been hurt pretty much my whole professional career. It's not fun, but it's a process and there's nothing I can do about it. So
how about you, Tuck?
College, everything is right there. Like, you go to practice every day, you go to the trainer, you do your extra workouts, your lifts, everything, it's all right there and it's kind of laid out for you. And then the pros, it's like, especially if you're not, like, when you're hurt and missing like a part of the season, if you're missing the whole season, you're not there, you really have to like put it together yourself. And then it's like, do I use the team doctor? Do I use my doctor?
Right.
You don't have that like built-in like network to get better. Like you kind of have to figure it out on your own. So that part I think gets a little hard, but at the same time, you can kind of make it how you want it. So that's the positive in it. But it's hard, especially I think getting hurt in college is a lot way easier.
I think you just take it day by day. I feel like, well, for me, this is my first like major injury where I'm gonna miss like a whole overseas season. So right now, the only thing I try to do is just day by day, and then you just go into rehab. Like Mariah said, you got the little goals that you try to do. Like mine was just like I was just trying to bend my knee to 90. So I think you just stay focused on that, and then for me too, like I got family around, so that's good too. At least I'm able. Like normally I'm always gone, so at least now this year I'll be able to be around family a little bit more.
Story, were you worried at all at any point about whether it'd be as good as it was before the injury?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like for me, when I was playing probably, at that time, the best point of my career. You feel like you said earlier, like when you're high, you're high. And at that point I was super high, and then I got my legs kind of chopped out underneath me. And it's, like Mo was saying, it's scary, especially with some of these injuries, because we don't know if we're going to come back to the same that we were before. And then I guess to kind of what Tuck was saying, it's like, it's not like we're in the NBA. We don't have all these resources right in front of us like we would, if we're an NBA guy or if we're at UConn or school or whatever. So trying to just figure it out on our own, and then keeping our mental somewhat okay. I remember, my PT that I used in LA, he was like, it's going to be a roller coaster of a ride. There's going to be highs and lows. And I guess this is for Bria right now and Mo. Just a whole bunch of highs and lows, but we just have to stick with it and continue to do what we can and control what we can control.
This world that we're living in right now, which is so screwed up in so many ways, between what's going on with the pandemic and what's happening politically around the country, and what's happening socially. The WNBA has been really forward and really progressive in what their message was going to be, especially this year. What does that say about you all as part of that organization, and how do you manage to push this thing forward even more? And do you feel like people were receptive to your message during the course of the summer while you guys were playing?
I mean, I think that, like you said, well, first of all, it was everybody's decision whether they wanted to come into the bubble or not, especially with everything that was going on, the social injustices, obviously COVID, safety, all types of things. But I think, speaking from my standpoint, this was like the most together the league has been. And obviously, we're all together in the same location, which made a huge difference. But the fact that, it wasn't just the players and all of us kind of standing up, but the league was really behind us and like supporting us more vocally than I think they ever have. And, I think that we probably as players worked harder off the court than we did on. I mean, we were on Zooms, we were having meetings, we were figuring it out. We wanted to make sure that, every game we were making a statement, whether it was a t-shirt or, having media blackout, things like that. And I think that, it's not like this where it's basketball and like politics or life or whatever the case may be. Like these things are really intertwined, and we need to continue to highlight the things in this world that need to be better.
Bria, trying to raise a family and trying to figure out how to navigate all this. You have a son now, and you see what's going on in the country. A lot of, not everybody's in that situation. You're in a unique situation in this little circle of Zoom, but not so unique in what's going on in America. What goes through your mind when you see this?
I mean, for me, it's just, I hope that my son is able to grow up and he can walk down the street and someone's not going to judge him by the color of his skin. And I just hope that everyone keeps pushing for change and for reform. And then hopefully when my son grows up, we don't see this happening anymore.
Okay, you want to weigh in on that?
I think like what Stewie said, I think this summer is the most that we've been together, you know, whether that be with just the players or with all of the WNBA as a whole. And I think we did a great job of being able to utilize our time in that bubble and not only using it to, you know, finish our season and, you know, get more viewers, but because we got more viewers, because we were able to be on TV a lot more and, you know, there obviously wasn't a lot going on, we used that platform by making people's names known, by making different initiatives that were going on known. And like Stewie said, you know, we had a lot of Zoom calls. We had a lot of, you know, meetings about, you know, things that we wanted to do initiative-wise for whether it was your team, your state. If a couple teams wanted to get together and do an initiative together, we were able to talk about those things in person and kind of just bounce things off of each other. And I think, like I said, we did a good job of utilizing our time while we were in there. And, you know, we made an effort to kind of bring all these issues to light. We have a bunch of strong women in this league and people who are very intelligent and very capable of, you know, making change. And I think that we did this summer and we were able to make our voices be heard.
Well, you did that. You know, whether people choose to act on it or not remains to be seen. You know, you have no control over that part of it. The only thing you can control over is, you know, doing your part. You know, you do your part and you hope that everybody appreciates it and then they do their part. And not everybody has to agree with you. That's the great thing about it. Not everybody has to agree with you, but everybody has to respect the fact that, you know, you have a voice and you were able to use it and that you chose to use it, which is so important that a lot of people have a voice and they don't want to use it. They don't want to put themselves out there because of the criticism that might come their way. And I think that takes a lot of courage to do what you guys did as a group and as individuals. I'm glad we got a chance to get everybody, you know, everybody together. It's not easy to pull, obviously, something like this off. But the best thing about these is what we talked about all the time when you guys are in school, that after you leave, the only thing you're going to remember are the moments. You're not going to remember any of the specifics about teams and games, but those moments, and even the ones we couldn't discuss tonight for obvious reasons, you know, those moments are the moments that last a lifetime. And some of you guys that haven't been in Gamble in a while, you know, when all this clears up, you need to come back and see, you know, and those of you that haven't been in our practice facility, you need to come back and see what it is. You'll walk around, it's like a museum now. It's really cool. You know, and obviously you guys are all prominent in that museum. But it's great to rehash some of the stuff. It's great to relive some of the stories and some of the memories. You know, the longer I'm away from it now, the more I appreciate it. And the longer that you guys are gone, the more I appreciate, the more I see what's going on today, the more I appreciate what it was like when you guys were there. And if I'd have known it was going to be like this, I would have liked you a lot more back then, but I'm sorry. That's just the way it was. And the opposite is true. If you guys knew what it was like where you've been, you would have liked me a lot more back then too. So it goes both ways. So thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. And stay healthy, stay safe. You know how to get a hold of us, and we'll be on TV. We'll be on TV a lot this year. Keep your fingers crossed. So catch us. Hey, and every time you see us play really well, let our guys know. And when they play crappy, make sure you let them know too. Hey, we're not putting up with that nonsense. So be safe, travel safe, good luck. And God, I love seeing you guys. Good to see you. Bye.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.